There we go.
Ooh.
Yeah, feel free to ad-lib some of the harmonies.
With a special guest.
Mr. Gregory Ould. Old?
Old.
Old?
Yes.
Or Ould?
I always say it's old. The U is silent, unlike me.
As you are all about to find out.
Unfortunately.
So yes, we're here with my friend,
We are.
Greg Ould, humanitarian, world traveler, and singer as well, right? Actor.
And former actor.
Former
yes.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm always acting the fool, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
As my kids saw as you came in today. You're pretty good with kids, eh?
When you think alike and you act alike,
Yeah.
they seem to kind of gravitate to you.
But I guess it does wear off. And then I asked your daughter if she thinks you're funny.
And she does not.
I knew the answer. But
No kid thinks their own dad is funny.
that's true.
Yeah, and then my son Ben will say, "Yeah, well, he thinks he's funny."
Yeah, and that's good. You got
That's good.
to enjoy yourself, right? That's what we're here for.
Yes, and I enjoy myself constantly. Sometimes alone.
Yeah. Oh, we're going there already, eh?
Just dive right in.
Yeah.
And let's talk about loneliness.
Well, not anymore, though.
No, definitely not.
But before we get too much into that,
Yes.
so Greg and I met through the BC Country Music Association, correct?
Yep.
We've kind of crossed paths at a few different events and had
Ones
a
that
couple
you
good,
forced me to come out to.
Yeah. I've twisted your arm and said you better be there.
Yes.
I said,
Is there wine or beer? It's like, yeah, it's
Usually,
a winery.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm there.
Yeah, that was a great one. Single Tree, right? Is what
Single
it was
Tree,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job. And
Phenomenal.
they had beers as well. And
They
it's
did.
a big crowd.
Yeah,
I was surprised.
It was really, really great, and people were actually really into your voice and your music, and
Yeah.
being in the I guess the background and with the audience and knowing you, I like listening to the feedback.
Oh yeah,
Because it warms my heart knowing that, God, you're killing it.
Yeah.
Andrew's killing it.
Or
should I
if-
tell him,
if
or should
someone-
I just make up a lie and say they hate you?
Yeah, if someone's talking trash, then you can stick up for me, right? Be like, hey, that's my friend up there.
And that's how I get free
Shut
beer.
up. Yeah.
And free shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. That particular night was awesome.
Thanks,
People were
man.
people were just in a great mood, and your music. When I was in line, they were talking about, hey, who's that guy? He's really good. And I'd be like, I know him, and they're like, yeah, sure you do.
Like it's not that big of a deal to be playing in a winery.
It's a huge deal. Come on.
I shouldn't say that because I'm very lucky to do what I do. I just meant in terms of being a rock star. It's not an arena tour or anything, but I do love getting up there, and I'm lucky to do it. For
Yeah,
sure.
and we're lucky to have you play for us because a lot of people have amazing talents and they just don't share with the world. And I think if you have a phenomenal talent like you do, share it with the world and make people laugh and make people cry in some cases, in a good way. Right, you wanna pull those heartstrings and make people feel those emotions that they need to release. Right, that's what it is. It's a release.
I do feel like I'm probably one of the best singer-songwriters out there around this area at making people cry.
You are you are on this
Whether
street.
it's a good thing or not. Yeah, on this street. Yeah.
This particular street.
Actually, no. I saw a guy up the road with his guitar, and he was pretty good.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. So second best.
You showed up and you're like trying to outdo him on the other side,
Yeah.
dueling banjos and whatnot.
So yeah, that's kind of how we met through the Country Music Association because you were heavily involved with your charity that you started, Blanket BC. How did that relationship happen between the BCCMA and your charity, Blanket BC?
It actually started back months prior during the summer when Kenny Hess had the amazing Kenny Hess, the award-winning Kenny Hess.
I know his daughter. I went to high school with
Becca.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, both
Becca and Kate.
and Kate. Yeah, both amazing talents.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
they are.
voices.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to Kenny through a mutual friend of ours who said, you really need to see Kenny Hess. And he says, why? Just go meet him, tell him your story. So I did. I walked up, I called and said, is there any way we can meet? And I want to if you just give me 2 minutes, that's all I need. So he says, yeah, okay, you got a minute and a half. Like, he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
So I went to his office and I told him, my name's Greg and I run a small nonprofit organization called Blanket BC Society. And what we do is we go around collecting and distributing blankets and warm clothing for shelter programs and families in need. And he said, just stop. Do you want a booth? I'm like, where? He goes, well, I put on a show. I think it's called, what is it called? River?
Oh, Rock and River.
Rock and River, thank you.
Yes, of course.
I had a
the festival.
Brain fart, yeah. And it was being held in Mission at that time.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, whatever you need, man.
Right on.
And then he told me a story about his brother, Greg, who died lonely on the streets. He had schizophrenia. He was homeless. Mm-hmm. And there was that connection, and an instant connection. While we were there, I met Linda Korskaden, and who was running BCCMA at the time. And Linda and he decided that the 50-50 draw should go to Blanket BC, and I had no idea. I was only there just to promote, not even to raise money, because at the time I would never ask for money. I wasn't asking for any, and for many, many years, like 8 years, we never asked for a dime. No. And
yeah, that's tough to do though, as your organization grows, right?
Yeah, because it was most of it was coming into my pocket.
Yeah.
And and we'll get into that later.
Yeah,
but Linda was part of the BCCMA, and she says, we love what you do, and so at the festival they gave us the 50-50, and we were just blown away. Like, there's a video on our, I believe on our website you can watch, and at the very end of the video I'm just in tears, and I just look like a sobbing idiot. But it's a really well done video, and it's actually one of the songs that Kenny has lent to us for that video, and it was actually about his brother Greg.
Wow.
And so so then I got introduced to the BCCMA world, and I wasn't singing at the time. I was just like, I love country music.
Just a big fan, yeah.
I've always been a fan of music in general.
Yeah.
And country music, especially the older country music, country and western. I think I listen to more, just and some folk, especially as everyone knows, John Denver. Mm-hmm. Love John Denver, and
I've heard he's full of crap though.
Yeah, I hear he's full of crap. I went to the Rockies. There were no mountains there.
Hey.
And we were suddenly nominated for a humanitarian of the year.
Yeah, very cool.
And I was like, why?
It's an incredible thing that you do, man, with that organization.
It was cool. And when we won, like, I was videotaping, my son Ben and I, we showed up because Ben is the co-founder of Blanket BC, and I'll explain how we started the organization in a second. But when we were there, I was videotaping the nominees.
Yeah.
And we're up with Chad Brownlee and such, and I knew who Chad Brownlee was. I'm like, are you kidding me? We're totally going to lose that guy because Tim Hortons, come on, right? Tim Hortons kids, and you just cannot compete with kids' charities, period. So we won, and I'm shaking my video, like I'm just holding the camera. I'm like, oh my God, we won! Like, it's like I won the Nobel Peace Prize or something. Like, I'm just going nuts, and you're the next contestant on the prize. So like we're just going nuts, right? I remember Todd Richard turning to me and he's like, good job, man. You're like, I'm like, that's Todd Richard. Like, I'm just going nuts. Oh my God, this is so crazy. Like, it's just the weirdest thing. And I was already a fan of Washboard Union. Yeah. And I saw them with, like standing and giving, I'm like, I know who those guys are, but oh my God, they're applauding for me. Like, it's so cool.
Wow.
In my speech, which is like rambled on for about 5.5 minutes, and very emotional. I remember seeing people crying, visibly crying. I don't know if it was because I was rambling too much. Like, this is horrible. Just get off the stage.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy? And I remember a couple points. One, the night before, got to sing with Chris Buck, the Chris Buck Band.
Nice.
And I sang Country Roads with him, and
Yeah.
that was pretty awesome to be able to sing, with these guys up on stage. They brought me up on stage to sing Country Roads, and I'm like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
So I thanked them. And then I turned to Washboard Union. Oh, one last thing. Washboard Union, you fucking rock. And just the whole house went up in flames. It was just so crazy. And like they were like, yes.
That's right when Washboard Union was really taking off, and they cleaned up at those awards, and they have been ever since. Really.
They've been cleaning house ever since, and I became really close friends with these guys. Aaron, Chris,
really cool.
and David were just phenomenal human beings.
Yeah.
And they really genuinely love the fans. They really, really love the fans to the point where they'll hang out with them, regular guys. And I think that's kudos to them because of their schedules and stuff like that. And every once in a while, I'll get a text from Aaron, and when they won the Juno, I was texting Aaron. I said, "Aaron, you're gonna win, man. You're gonna win." And then they won. He's like, "Thanks, buddy." I'm like, "I know." Yeah. But seriously, I'm so proud of those guys. I'm really, really happy. And they're now going to be touring the States. And because I talked to Chris Dunner just recently, and they're going to be doing some stuff in the States. And that's going to blow up.
Next step, yeah.
Yeah, that's the next step. And they're also going to Spain in August.
Cool.
They're doing a huge, talking like 200,000 people, like right in front of all those people, introducing, not only the Washboard Union, but Canadian country music. And I think that's it. They're the best representatives we could possibly have for Canadian country music.
As people and as musicians, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's sweet. Wow. So that's cool. So that's Blanket BC, which is still ongoing. And I know through my wife's work, we did a drive.
Jamie.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah. And so
And congratulations, by the way, on your
baby boy. Thank you.
That's fantastic, man. I'm really happy. What's his name again?
Ledger.
It's
the
like
Ledgehammer.
It's like Heath Ledger.
Yeah. Jamie always said, she loved the name when she heard it through Heath Ledger or whatever. She was like, oh, that's such a cool name. She would always wanted to use it for
it's a great
baby
name.
boy, and now we finally got to.
There you go. Well, congratulations.
Thanks,
He's
man.
very adorable.
Yeah.
Looks like his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he looks a lot like me. He just took all my hair. He's got like a full head of hair. I'm like, oh, thanks, buddy.
That's why he looks like his mom.
Yeah. So what easiest way for people to check out and help out Blanket BC?
Well, let's start with the context of Blanket BC and how
Yeah.
it started, because I think it's really important to before people can just say jump on a bandwagon. I really want people to understand
What it's about,
where it comes from, and the story behind it. So basically, coming out of a movie theater, watching a movie I was in, one of my last films,
and we'll get there soon too. Talk about the acting.
Please not. I was coming out of a movie theater in Tinseltown. And I saw this guy, and this was October 15th, 2005. I'll never forget the day. And I'm coming out of the theater, and I see this guy in an alcove. And it was cold, you could see your breath, but I didn't think much of it, honestly, because I was, in a winter jacket, and I didn't really think, again, it was a big deal. So I went up to him, because we made eye contact, and I felt like if I broke that eye contact, I would be a douche, you know? And so I went up to him, and I just simply asked him, what can I do to help you? And he paused and he just simply said I could use a blanket to survive this night.
Yeah.
That was it. And it floored me.
Just a blanket.
Yeah.
He doesn't need $10 or $20.
No. Didn't ask for cigarettes, didn't ask for food,
yeah.
didn't ask for coffee, didn't ask for drugs or anything like that. Just a simple blanket to survive the night. And that, I was just, okay. I was kind of hit, it was like being blindsided.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what to say. And you don't want to just like, oh, okay, see ya, good luck, and walk away.
Yeah.
So I knew that there was an Army and Navy around the corner. So I ran quickly to the Army and Navy because it was getting late. And they were just closing. And the door had just locked. And I'm like, no. I need to get a blanket. Can I please just go run in, get the warmest blanket, and leave? And they opened the door. I ran in. She didn't ask any questions. I just ran. And I went to the cashier. I was like, I need your warmest blanket. She's okay. What color? It doesn't matter. I just want your warmest blanket. Where can I get one? She goes, what's it for? I says, there's a guy out there. He just needs a blanket. That's all he needs. And she's like, okay, come with me. And we ran over and grabbed this big, beautiful blanket. It was tightly wrapped in a plastic, I remember. And I paid for it. She actually gave me, I think, a really good discount.
Yeah.
But paid for the blanket. Went back to the guy, and he was still there. And I think he was smoking or just hanging out. As I was walking towards him, I could see him making eye contact with me again. And I just went up to him. I gave him the blanket. And I don't remember if there were any words spoken. I think it was the fact that someone had listened and then taken action.
Yeah, he probably didn't. He probably said, "Oh, I'm never going to see that guy again."
Yeah.
When you took off, right?
Probably.
Yeah. Which most people, there's a lot of people in the world who would have just said, "Oh, okay, I'll try and get you one next time or something."
Yeah,
or,
off to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it felt great to give it to him, but that wasn't really the start of Blanket BC. It wasn't until I got home later that night, and it was around maybe 10, 11, and Ben was awake. Jen was sleeping, my ex-wife, Ben's mom, and Ben was awake, and, when Ben's awake, it's Daddy Ben time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what hour of the day, so instead of go to sleep, it's like, you know what, I'm jacked. I wanna play with my kid.
Hang out. Yeah.
And so I'm playing with him, and I'm coming up with ideas of what we can do together. And he was 22 months old. So I said to him, hey, Ben, hey, buddy. And he had the bluest eyes you'd ever see, like stone cold blue, just gorgeous. And the chubbiest cheeks. He was a real fat kid, and he was like a little Buddha. We called him Benny the Buddha. And he sat up, and I told him the story about how I met this guy on the street, and I gave him a blanket. It felt really good. So I said to him, wouldn't it be cool if you and I were like Batman and Robin, and we went out, and instead of fighting bad guys and crime, we're fighting the cold, we're fighting loneliness, we're fighting poverty and homelessness. What do you think? Just you and me. And I just remember him going, yeah. I'm thinking he was probably thinking Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Let's watch Batman and Robin. Yeah. But Blanket BC was born that day.
Yeah.
And we didn't really come up with the title Blanket BC until a little bit later on. But the BC, and a lot of people think it's British Columbia. Yeah. It's never been. Yeah. And I've never really advertised it ever, because I want it to be a conversation piece. If he's like, oh, Blanket British Columbia, I'm like, actually, it doesn't mean British Columbia. Oh. It actually means...
I'm intrigued.
Mm-hmm. Listeners, are you intrigued? Yeah. It actually means beautiful communities. By giving the warmth from your heart, which is our logo, on our logo,
right,
you create a beautiful community. When you volunteer your time, right, not just donating money, but volunteering your time, which is really the most precious commodity we have on earth, time, you create a beautiful community. And that's what Blanket BC is about. That's what volunteering is all about. It's creating those beautiful communities that we want to live in, and we want to create for our children and our children's children. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to me to teach our kids that it's not about us, it's about others and giving to others. You got to take care of yourself, because God knows I didn't. And we'll get into that a little bit later on too. Yeah. But it was really important that I wanted to be the best dad I could, like, play it plain and simple. I've always wanted to be a father. As you see, I'm great with kids. I love kids. Except in Japan when they're following me in the onsen, that was weird. The whole other story right guy. There. Yeah, I'm the white guy. The gaijin, muki gaijin.
Is that what they call white people?
No, they were calling me. They're if you have muscles.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I didn't think I did.
I
guess I'm a little jacked. I kept hearing Mookie and Gaijin, and I went up to my fiance and says, "Honey, what's the Gaijin and Mookie?" And she's like, "Oh, that means foreigner and muscle man." I'm like, "Oh,
Foreigner muscle man.
I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "That's what they were calling me." And she starts laughing. She goes, "Did they look at the rest of your body?" And like that beer belly. Anyway, but just going back to starting Blanket BC. Ben and I started with like 67 blankets, just collecting from friends.
Yeah.
And then and I was working for Bell at the time, so I was in the in-store. So people were, Vicky Ursaki, my former boss there, manager, and Marcus Fromm, they're the ones that really kind of pushed me to continue doing this. The following year, he's like, that you got a good program going, you should keep it going. I'm like, yeah, I want to, but I realized how it kind of snowballed very, very quickly. So we collected 67 in the 3 months there, and then the following year was like over 1,500. And then and then there was over 15,000 the following year after that, and then we just kept going and going and going and going, and now we're well over 440,000 blankets.
Yeah.
If you were to take a 6-foot blanket, put it end to end, you could literally wrap around the earth like 2.5 times.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's a fact. That's a Greg fact right there.
And that's what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. Give blankets out to everybody who needs them. Cover the world. Give the world a little more warmth, right?
Yeah. I believe in
Greg love.
I believe in global warming.
Yeah. Right there you go. The positive global warming. Yeah.
That's right.
I like that.
But yeah, it's and then Emma was born, later on, a few years later, and she was born into it, and we call her the boss. Mm-hmm. So she's now 12, sorry, and she's the boss, and Ben is the co-founder, and he's Mr. Go-To. If I have any questions, if I'm having issues with my board, I go to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do. He's 15 now, and he's an incredible. Like, both kids are just incredible kids. They're very polite, and I'm not going to take any credit. That's all their mom. Their mom is a phenomenon. She's always been there for the kids and myself.
Yeah.
But when it comes to honestly being polite and smart. Fucking good looking. That's all their mom, to be honest with you.
But what you've instilled in these kids through this program,
poker,
like since the day they were born, like
yes.
you said, instilling this concept of helping.
Okay, I
humanity,
did 10%. I
right?
got 10%.
Like, that's a pretty big deal for how a kid would turn out if he grows up just around that society or that movement.
Yeah,
his or her whole life. Then that's gonna help a lot.
And it's we try to surround ourselves with good people. I'm raised from two of the most amazing people on the planet, Brian and Martha Ould. Mm-hmm. They're going to be celebrating 50 years in September together.
Right on.
Yeah, 55 in total, I think, and they're in their 70s now, and they're still, my dad still works, he's a go-getter, he's got a lot of energy. My mom's got all the energy in the world because she's got to deal with him, and they're still like 18-year-olds, all on each other all the time. It's kind of grotesque now, but just kidding, Mom, just kidding, Dad. I love you guys, but honestly, they're always there for me and my two brothers, Dave and Andy, and anytime we were going through our own shit, our own crap, even when it's our fault, they were there to support us, and that's what parents need to do. They need to be there, and my mom and I, we always butted heads forever and a day. And I think there was a point in my recent years that I just got tired of being an asshole to my mom.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
And I was, truthfully, I was like, I just got tired of arguing with my mom. No, I was the asshole. My mom had always valid points, and I just didn't listen. And I think a lot of it had to do with the mental health issues I was going through for the past 5 to 10 years. So I just didn't listen and butted heads with her. But, she raised me good. My dad raised me good. And I'm trying to do exactly what my wonderful parents did for me and my brothers. Mm-hmm. Trying to instill a little bit of goodness, and it shows because they've never gotten in any trouble at school or otherwise. My son works full time, He's going into grade 11. He's a supervisor at a grocery store, out in Mission.
Yeah.
He takes charge and he gets things done. Like their work ethic definitely comes from me because I'm just a workaholic and I love work. I love working.
Yeah. I
wish I made more money working, but I do love staying busy and working constantly, and it's fun for me, and that's why I'm finding several outlets, like the singing and all that stuff. So Ben has always said, Dad, when I'm 19, move over. I'm taking over. I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
But I want my son to travel. I want my daughter to travel. I want them to see the world, and gain knowledge from there, not just education, but world knowledge.
And maybe find something that they're,
passionate
even
about.
more passionate about throughout the world. And maybe it's
like circumcising donkeys.
There you go.
Yeah.
It could be. It is
It's a thing.
Right? I guess that would be the most logical place, right?
Sure.
If they're into that.
Well, maybe there's too many there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it down to Argentina.
Take it down.
I don't know.
That's really cool, and I can tell how much you love your kids, and just by the passion in your voice when you talk about them, and you do seem like a great dad.
Well, I've made a lot of mistakes too.
Everybody has. Don't fool yourself, right? And everybody makes those mistakes, and
you got to learn from them. You got to be able to learn from them and try not to repeat.
Then
I usually repeat 2 or 3 times.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm a remedial learner, so it takes me a little longer to learn things. I got to read a book. Honestly, I got to read a book like 2 or 3 times, same book, in order for me to actually get it,
to understand what it's about.
Yeah, when I was an actor, reading the script, I couldn't just read my lines. I had to read the whole thing over and over and over again in order for me to understand my own lines. Even if I only had like 5 lines, if it was a commercial,
you need the whole picture.
I needed the whole picture.
What's the entire scene about, right?
Yeah,
What's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I really needed to understand everything.
Yeah. That's interesting. And you said, so you started acting as a child?
Yeah.
Because Ledger's a child actor now already.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. They were downtown filming today.
Oh, are they doing that? Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
So
get them to work.
I know, right?
Just, pop them out, put them to work.
Oh, because I lost my Tuesday night gig at the Tap House, and so he's on the hook for that money.
That's fantastic. Is he a good baby?
He's awesome.
That's good. Well, there's some babies that are just like chronically.
I know. Yeah. No. He's pretty chill. He just sleeps, and
then alcohol was created.
Yeah. So what was your kind of acting career like? I've never heard much of this side of your story.
Because I don't really tell it.
No. How come?
Because
was it not a good experience?
No,
as a kid, or
it was a good experience, but that whole Me Too era that just came in, and a lot of what people have been talking about, it kind of happened to me, and I never really talked about it. In fact, this is actually really the first time I'm actually publicly talking about what happened to me a long time ago. Yeah. I was on that casting couch. I was physically touched. I never was physically abused because I never I never allowed it to go to the next level. But I was pretty much blacklisted because I lashed out at some people that tried to take advantage of me, and I just wouldn't put up with it. And I never told anybody about it because I was probably ashamed, and I was scared more than anything else for litigation purposes or whatever. And so that's one of the reasons why I got out. The other reason was because I did it for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I was a kid actor, and then continued acting throughout. Even went for the role of Robin for Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And I was at the top 5 for that list. I was wrestling at the time, so I was jacked. I was a young kid. I had the chops, and they gave it to Chris O'Donnell.
That fucking guy.
Yeah, what an asshole. He just ruined Robin for me for life.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. What a dick. He doesn't know anything about comic books, nor does he know about anything about the background for Robin, and it was really poor casting. But I lament. But yeah, I quit acting because I made a promise to Jen that I would get into I would do something realistic, because let's face it,
family life,
and also it doesn't make that much money if you're some days would be great. Months, you're like, I don't have to work for 3 months. Yay. And others like, I'm starving for the next 6.
Yeah.
And me
Rough.
personally starving is fine, but me, the wife and the child, you can't do that. So I quit acting all in all, and actually made my announcement at an award show that I won Best Actor for, and I said I quit because I'm gonna have a baby.
Yeah.
And
what was that, like a
it was
local awards thing? Or
no, it was
like
an Oscar.
Kind of. Yeah. Oh, that was you.
Yeah, that was me. No, it was a local thing. So.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
it was a big deal,
Yeah.
and I was full house, and it was funny when I made the announcement. Everyone stood up, gave a standing ovation, but not to me. They all turned to Jen in the back
Yeah.
and gave her a standing ovation.
Congrats on the kid coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or get out,
Yeah.
run away.
This guy's nuts.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but that was then, and I want to get back into it. I do miss it, and
this is the place to be if you want to. It's a great spot around Vancouver and huge in Burnaby as well. Like
it is.
It's one of the main hubs out in North America, isn't it?
Yeah. It's I think it's the third largest. I think
For the
it's
TV and film industry.
TV and film industry now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did really cool. I did okay. Back in the day, but and I had some good things on shows and whatnot, but good parts. But that was a different time.
And I can tell, like, how you talked about they're a bit apprehensive, and because of what you went through, and that it's kind of a weird memory and career to look back on. Is it?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I just remember there's a couple instances I remember really, not even vaguely. I remember them very well, and I just I didn't want to go through that again, and I'm not going to get into details because it's honestly I was doing that with my therapist a little while ago, and
it's not
too
easy.
upsetting. It's not easy, and in fact, I didn't even remember about it until we delved into religion, and and then talking about Catholic Church and priests and all that kind of stuff, and then I was reminded of somebody else that was a former priest and got into casting. Yeah,
just fucking sick, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
the industry as a whole is a sick industry, to be honest with you.
Right.
I would. They have many different rules now, especially for young children. They're way more protective. They don't do certain hours. Like when I was a kid, man, we'd be doing 18-hour days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like,
this Ledger can work for 15 minutes and then he needs a break. That's it.
That's great.
Yeah.
they would torture us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Why aren't you crying? I need tears. And then they would actually literally scream at you to get tears, and then suddenly you're crying. Now say your lines, and then you'd say your lines. That was great. Okay, next.
Jeez, and then just toss you to the side.
Yeah, but that was the film. Theater was more my thing. I loved theater.
Cool. Yeah,
didn't pay shit, but it was a lot of fun, a great outlet. I got to work with some of the best, man. I got to work with Doug Greenall, and Doug Greenall is just a hero in my mind, man. He was a phenomenal writer, a really good visionary, and I have no idea what he's up to now. But I think he was working for IATSE for a little while, and but he was awesome. Yeah, he did some really good stuff back in the 80s as an actor, and then he became a writer and director, and that was a lot of fun.
Theater always interested me too. I was like, I don't know. I was very involved in sports, and then music started coming along, and but always in the back of my mind, I was like, it would be cool to be in like a musical or Broadway thing. Like that was always something in the back of my head. Obviously now would not be the time. Family life again. It's because just so many rehearsals and that kind of thing, and you're not really making money the whole time if you're rehearsing. And it's but it was always something I thought would be fun. And my sister does some with the Chilliwack Players Guild.
Oh yeah,
she's
cool.
in certain productions out there. They just did one called Pirate Radio. It was a British pub night thing, so
cool.
all about the old pirate radio stations.
Yeah,
and
there was a movie made about that too.
Yeah, very cool. And so she had some good singing parts in it. She did awesome. So
wow,
I loved watching that. But yeah, I think theater's sweet.
It's a great outlet.
It's I
would love to see my kids do some theater, especially Emma. She's She's a phenomenon. She's very dramatic like I am. So yeah, she's like her dad, you know.
Yeah.
She could pull up the tears pretty quick.
I bet.
And then suddenly smile. I'm like, damn it, what the hell? I just fell for that? Oh.
So Greg, just on a very light note, something I always ask my guests is if they have a favorite song ever.
Anything by Andrew Christopher.
Really? Yeah. Okay, well, you got to pick one. Gun to your head, what would be your favorite song of all time if you had to just name one?
Country Roads.
Yeah, there you go. I guess I did know that. We already talked about it.
Yeah. I would say
it is. Yeah.
Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Take me home, country roads. Sorry, folks, if your ears are bleeding right now.
It's Mr. Gregory Ould on Classic AC Radio.
Yeah, Country Roads would probably be my number one pick. But there's other JD songs and Neil Diamond songs that I just love, and some of them are not
classics.
Yeah, but some of them are not so known. Like For You, just look in your eyes again. Just the beat of your heart. It's a ballad, and it's just so beautiful and pretty.
John Denver? Or?
It's a John Denver, For You.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's amazing. I'll send you some stuff. It's really, some of his ballads are just so beautiful.
Yeah, I've never really gotten that deep into his stuff. So
a lot of people don't.
There's just so much music out there.
There's a lot of music.
So that's why I like asking and
new, I would say that of course I love the Washboard Union, but I'm watching the Rolling Trainwreck. I really enjoy Rolling Trainwreck. They put on good shows, and
they're wild up there.
They're wild, and they're Jesse Birch is just, he's an incredible writer. He's got a great voice, and he's got that presence. Mm-hmm. Guys want to be him, and women want to be with him. And but
isn't that Austin Powers?
Well, that too.
Oh,
yeah, okay. He's like the Austin Powers, but in bluegrass, country bluegrass.
Yeah.
And there's also a guy Drake White.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Drake. I was like, I know Drake.
Yeah, do you know Drake? Yeah, yeah.
I've heard of him.
I prefer his acting over his. But anyway, Drake White. If you haven't heard Drake White, he's incredible. Like he's kind of like Chris Stapleton, just without a beard.
Yeah.
And he's got that raw, manly voice,
old-timey country stuff. Eh?
Yeah, and he's just incredible. Just absolutely. I was listening to him in Japan, and on the way to Japan, and I was starting to sing along, and the person beside me was like, "Hey, can you shut up?" Oh, sorry.
Who sings that song? Let's keep it that way.
Exactly. Exactly.
So where did the anthem singing come from? Has this always been something you've loved, like as a kid, watching people sing the anthems at sports games, or how did that come about?
So my daughter, I always sing in the shower, and I usually sing, Sweet Caroline, Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba,
heard of it?
Yeah, it's a new song I heard. Anyway, my daughter knows I like singing "O Canada," and the U.S. national anthem. It's a good warm up for your voice and whatnot. One day she's like, "Dad, can you sing the national anthem at one of my assemblies?" And I'm like, I guess, because they're looking for an anthem singer. I'm like, oh, okay. So I did it for my daughter. So Emma had me do it, and then I sang it in front of, about 400 or 500 people at the school at Albert McMahon in Mission.
Yeah, okay.
And way to go, Albert McMahon. Phoenix, rise again.
Phoenix,
yeah. Anyway, I sang, and Frank Giuseppe, or Mr. D, as everyone calls him, is a music teacher, and he comes up, and he's a wildcat. He's a funny guy. He's a very, very funny character. And he comes up, he's like, hey, Mr. Ould, you have an incredible voice. You really have an incredible voice. Do you know that? Do you know that your range is amazing? Yeah, there's pitchy here and there, but you really, you got something. You really got something. Have you ever considered auditioning for Whitecaps or BC Lions or I know people at the the Vancouver Canadians. Sorry, it's just like that.
He almost sounds like Adam Sandler at some point.
Yes, and so I'm like,
okay.
he kind of reminded me of Little Nicky, actually.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I mean, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, no. He's like, so he set up he set up an audition with the Canadians. So I show up to I lined up with about 35 12-year-old girls, and then there was me, and there was a CBC guy there.
Yeah.
And he had a camera guy, and he comes up and he goes, "So is this your daughter?" And I says, "No,
She's the competition.
no, she's. I don't know this girl. I'm just here auditioning." And he's like, "Whoa, wait, hold on, you're auditioning?" And I had a really big beard at the time, and I looked haggard and like a homeless dude. Honestly, to be honest with you, I'm borrowing my own blankets type deal. Like, and he goes, "Are you a professional singer?" I says, "Oh God, no." He goes, "Have you ever sang in audition before?" I said, "Oh God, no." He goes, "Can we do a story on you?" I'm like, "Oh God, no." He goes, "No, it'll be good. We'll make you look good." And I'm like, "Oh, sure, okay." Actually, the little girl beside me was like, "Yeah, go for it, mister, go for it." So they took me aside and did a little, interview, and asked me, it's like, "So where have you sung before?" I says, "In my shower." Deadpan, straight face, and like he was cracking up so bad. He's like, "Oh, this is gold. This is good. I love this." So I go and I audition, and he videotaped that as well, and they put this montage thing together, and it's with other performers, but I was kind of like the feature, and they kept going back to me, and then they finished with, "So how do you think you did?" I'm like, "How do you think I did?" He goes, "Actually,"
that's what I just asked.
Yeah. He goes, "Actually, I think you killed it." I'm like, "Well, there you go, folks. I killed it." And they ended it there. And then they posted that. Yeah. And then I started getting phone calls from other organizations. So I got phone calls from Whitecaps, BC Lions, and Giants, whatnot. And so there you have it. I actually haven't sung for Giants yet, but we're gonna actually do that this year. Yeah. And yeah, it's pretty neat. So I've been singing national anthems, and at one time I was, anytime I sang the national anthem, the home team won. And it was at 26 games.
Good luck, Greg.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Good luck, Chuck. Good luck, Greg. Part 2. That was a movie.
Yes.
Reference, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Hey, you guys need to bring me back because I'm your good luck charm." Has nothing to do with the performance of your players.
Yeah, it's
me. It's me. I'm the guy. So yeah, the first time I sang in front of 48,788 people or something like that, it was ridiculous.
Jeez,
ridiculous.
Was that the Whitecaps one?
Yeah.
Let's listen to it.
Oh God, no.
Yep. I love it because it feels like you're there.
Oh my God. It's the acoustics. Yeah.
You sound great.
I don't know if you can see the video, but I'm doing this thing with my arm because we have. Ooh, that's nice. We have people that are deaf and they're doing the signing. So you can't see them; they're off. Yeah, so I'm doing the timing for them. People are always annoyed by it, though. I wanted to do something different after this part, but I was too afraid. I was gonna free.
What do you sing next?
The Israeli national anthem.
What a showman.
Yeah. I took that liberty. They told me not to do that, but I did it anyway. You can hear the crowd.
It's cool.
It was weird because you could feel it.
Yeah.
And the lyrics had changed, so I had to know that.
Oh yeah.
All of us. Yeah. But I said, all thy sons. Oops.
People probably liked that better, to be honest.
Probably.
I think they're like, yeah, good for that guy.
Yeah. You can hear the cameraman actually singing too.
I did it for a little bit.
In fact, I think it's George Parra who actually did this one, actually. Holy. Come on, everybody. Everyone, come on. Oh, we stand on God. And ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to a standing ovation. But that's only because by default
They were already standing.
They were already standing. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, and recently I was in Japan and I actually sang it in Japan on Canada Day.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know if you saw the video, but I'm holding my flag.
Yeah, nice.
I'm right on the seashore, with crashing waves, and I'm singing "Oh Canada." And there's about 50, 60 people behind the camera on the walkway.
Cool.
And they're all just like, "What the hell is going on here?" And everyone knows "Oh Canada." It doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good anthem. People love it, and that was pretty cool because it was the first time I had been outside the country on Canada Day, and
That's crazy.
to be there and I brought out the flag. Also, I brought out the flag like 100 times, and like anytime I brought out this big Canadian flag, people just swarmed me, and they're like, "Oh, can I get a picture with you?" And I'm like, "Me or the flag?"
Yeah. No, white guy and the flag.
Yeah, and the guy Jin and the flag. Mookie Mookie.
Mookie flag. So what would you say? Yeah, let's pop this open.
We're ladies and gentlemen, this next segment is brought to you by
Unofficially.
Unofficially, of course. Unofficially, I believe is this Dead Frog?
Yeah, it is.
All right, Dead Frog, fresh pressed pina colada hazy IPA. So if you're a fan of pina colada and IPA, well, guess what? I think this one's a winner.
Yeah, we'll let you know soon.
We'll let you know soon enough. Yeah, for sure.
So what I was going to ask is, do you have, now that you've gotten into this anthem singing, like a dream gig around, like even like around Canada, let's say, or North America? Would there be like,
yes,
is there one that stands out to you?
Well, if we had the Commonwealth Games, that would be like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah,
Olympics. I would like to do the Canucks.
Yeah,
that's my end goal. Well, not my end goal, but that's one of my my goals is doing the Canucks because everyone from Karen Lee Batten to Michael Bublé and Sarah McLachlan, they've all done.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, they've all done the Canucks, and like if I put my name there, then they'll be just as cool as I am.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe just
they might still have some work to do.
Yeah, a little bit. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
And
I'm
cheers
glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. And you know what? I want to say thank you very much to all your listeners. You have a really good show. I watched the YouTube version. I'm kind of glad I'm not on the video version now because I have a face for radio.
Well, it's not so bad, man. You're so hard on yourself.
Well,
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Someone's got to be hard on myself.
I like this. It's a lot. It's really comfortable. That's good, hey?
That is, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, if you like pina colada and beer, ladies and gentlemen, this is the winner. I'm going to go out and get another one.
Yeah.
This is so good.
It's nice, yeah. Mm-hmm. I like it. So let's get into something, so when we first kind of talked on the phone, or I think maybe, you commented, oh, it'd be great to have you on, come be on your show. And I was so into it because of the Blanket BC stuff or whatever. I was like, that would be an awesome thing to do, which we've kind of covered. And then you called me on the phone and kind of said, you had a story you wanted to tell and something, a bit deeper to get into to talk about.
You talking about the accidental circumcision?
No, the donkeys.
Oh, yeah.
What you did with the donkeys. What's that?
In Argentina.
Yeah.
Don't call in, folks. I didn't harm any
wrong.
donkeys.
No donkeys were harmed in this filming of this podcast. But
yeah, so I have been dealing with, and I think it's really, really important to understand that it's okay to talk about mental illness. It's okay to talk about depression, and it's okay to talk about suicide.
Yeah.
I think for the longest time, I really didn't like myself. I, I have been going. I've gone ups. We've all had ups and downs. We've all had tragedies. I know you've had a tragedy that I couldn't fathom. And you get through it through family and friends. And by the way, just very quickly, and I've said this to you once before. Your video and your song for your daughter is still one of the most beautifully written songs, and I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
It is one of the most beautiful tributes you can have for a human being, and it says a lot about who you are as a soul, not just a person, but a soul. And I can see the love that you have for your family, and it's incredible. It really is incredible. You're a great dad, and you're a really great role model. You really are. And I'm when you were sharing that story, I remember telling myself, and I'm sorry for getting a little verklempt here, but I remember telling myself, I wish I had that same passion. And I realized then I was going through something far darker. Because I know I'm a good dad. At least I try to be. I try to be there for my kids. I tried to be there for, my ex. And but I didn't try for myself. And that's why I couldn't be the father I wanted to be and the husband I wanted to be. And I lost that relationship with my wife. I lost that because I screwed up because I wasn't taking care of myself. And I let other thoughts and demons take over. And it sucks. I'll never say a bad thing about, Ben and Emma's mom. She's one of the most wonderful human beings on the planet. She really is. I screwed up the relationship because I wasn't thinking straight and I wasn't dealing with my mental illness, which was depression, anxiety, a few other disorders that I couldn't even fathom. Thinking that, does this exist? Thoughts of suicide, the act of suicide, which took place on 2 different occasions that I haven't really talked about. Almost losing my job. I lost a lot of friends because I was acting inappropriately, mixing alcohol and drugs, not illegal drugs, but over the counter stuff that didn't make you think and made you,
Yeah.
I sent you a picture.
Yeah, I saw the picture and it was
tough
to look at.
It was a picture. It's just the top part of my face, folks. It was the darkest period of my entire life.
When is this? We're talking.
It was
a couple
actually
years ago, or
yes, a few years ago after the BCCMAs. Something happened there where I had said some inappropriate things, and again, I was mixing some stuff and just a couple. I only literally had 2 drinks, but that's all you needed.
Some of these medications.
Yeah, and antidepressants do not mix well with alcohol whatsoever. And so I was asked to leave. So I left, and
this is right after you had won.
No,
this was the year after.
This is a couple years. I think a couple years later.
Okay, gotcha.
And I thought it was this was kind of a night that I needed. I needed to be around friends and music, but it was just a Band-Aid. It wasn't fixing anything. It was just covering up something that I hadn't addressed. And so I was asked to leave, and all I wanted to do is just crash into another vehicle. And I kept looking for a chance, but I literally just wanted to die. I wanted to die so badly that night. I had already lost my marriage, and that was fresh. I was losing opportunities at work, where I work on the Canada line. I am a regular guy. I'm not just an entertainer out there, but I work a regular job. Yeah. It's not quite a 9 to 5, but it's long hours. And I was acting out at work, and it was causing me to I kept coming in for meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, and wasn't addressing anything. And that night, I just wanted to end it. I think I put stupid. I put it out on Facebook, like I want her to end. And I realized, oh shit, I actually didn't mean to post it. I was going to, and then I hit send, and I took it off immediately, and I got a few phone calls I did not answer. Yeah. It was a really tough night, and it still took it took another year for me to actually seek help.
Really?
Yeah.
So that year must have been pretty rough.
It was the toughest year of my entire life. There was other things that was thrown at me, and it was piling and piling and piling, and then finally I just I work with trains.
Yeah. My
colleagues at work were noticing hugely, drastically different behavioral issues, and I got called into the office, and a lady by the name of Nolana, who was the new HR lady at Canada Line. She took me aside and was like, Greg, we have some concerns. We know, and the concerns are this. We know that you've been going through a hard time, but your colleagues, your friends at work here, I've heard you talk about suicide. And they had to bring it to our attention. And I'm glad they did. Because they gave me an out that I needed. And they told me it's okay to get help. It's okay to take time off. I had never taken time off work since I was a kid.
Like you said, hardworking guy. You
yeah,
enjoy it.
I enjoyed working. And I always thought if I took time off, I'm cheating myself, or I'm cheating the company. And I've always been a company man until I get screwed over. Yeah. But, I took the time, and, I had met a young woman by the name of Fumika Sakamoto. One of the days that I was having a really, really rough night, I prayed to my grandfather. Actually, I prayed to my grandfather. I had a dream of my grandfather. And I said, I need someone to help me. I need help. And I remember in my grandfather's voice, he had this very unique nasally voice, and he says, I'm going to send someone your way, And so the next day I met...
Italian? That sounded Italian.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. No, he was, there's no accent, but they were English.
Yeah.
I met this young woman, Fumika, on the platform, and we're just chatting.
At work?
At work.
Yeah.
And we just seemed to form this quick bond, and it was great. It was fantastic. We had a long, long chat, all the way until we heard the announcements of this station is now closing. Please,
really?
Yeah. Like, derelict of duties. I gotta go. I'm so sorry. And then she's like, I missed my bus. I'm like, oh no. And I was able to help her get home.
Wow.
Yeah. But then, she texts me and says, hey, thanks for, getting me home safe and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. And it's like, we just kept talking and talking, and we formed this great bond and relationship. And I just, I don't know, I was just really relaxed with her, and I told her all my problems, and she had all these right answers that I needed to help me get through whatever I was going through. And part of that helped me make the decision to take time off work. And then we started dating. You know, I asked her out, like old school. You want to go out with me? Like, out? And she's like,
like food?
Yeah, eat. Food, eat, drink, maybe. And she did, and we had the best first date ever. Like, went to a museum, went for a walk, went to a Rogue bar, kitchen bar, whatever. Cool. And then we went to a karaoke. We listened to our friend Kia sing, and then she brought me up, and we sang A Whole New World. A whole new world.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
I won't. And I sang a couple other songs with a guy who knew all John Denver songs, which is great. And Sweet Caroline and stuff. And then I asked her later, I says, did you have a good time? She goes, oh my God, the best. I'm like, oh, sweet. And we kissed goodnight. And then we've been by her sides ever since. We've been hip to hip. And she got me through some like the hardest times, because I was going through like mass therapy, you know, and I was coming out with all this stuff, and she was just there, you know, and she goes, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You know that scene in Good Will Hunting, when Robin Williams, one of my heroes in life, says to Will, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
He goes, stop it. No, it's not your fault. Stop it. It's not your fault. That finally hit me. It's not my fault. People have mental illness, and it's only your fault if you don't deal with it. Mm-hmm. So deal with it. Accept it. Learn from it. Right?
Make you a better person.
Make you a better person. Yeah, make yourself a better person.
A better father, a better husband.
I'm a better everything now.
Better friend.
Yeah. I'm a better everything now. I really am. I'm even better towards Jen. Like, I am all for helping and being as helpful as I can be. I mean, albeit I forgot to do some things at the house, like clean up stuff, which I should have done. Sorry, Jen. But I am doing the best I can, and I'm trying to be the better person now, And Famika had to go back to Japan for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until when she left about a week later, I was like, my heart aches. And I knew she's it. Mm-hmm. She's
but, I bet that was important, too, to have some of that time apart. To make sure that you were really taking care of yourself, right? And not, being too dependent on this new relationship and filling that void, with someone.
It's funny they say that, because after the 3-month mark, I was like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I can't wait to be with her. And I went to Japan, and 3 days later I proposed.
Yeah.
And
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And that was just a month ago?
No, that was like 10, 11 days ago.
Yeah.
I just got back 10, 11 days
Congrats,
ago.
man.
Thank you.
That's so freaking cool.
Yeah. And
I know a really good wedding singer.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesse Birch?
Yeah.
The Promise. Promise with Noel and Jesse Birch. Yeah. Anybody else you know?
Yeah. No, I can't think of it. It was the guy I was going to say.
Washboard Union? What?
Yeah.
If Washboard Union is out there listening.
Greg's got a wedding.
I got a wedding coming up. It's a hell of a gig. Lakeside. No, anyway. Yeah. So, I still deal with the mental issues, but at a degree where I'm confronting them. But I haven't. Honestly, I've never been more happy. And this is the past year. I have never been more happy, more content, more focused. I'm excelling at work. Like excelling at work.
Yeah.
I'm on committees now, and they're giving me projects to do where they always stayed away from me, because I just couldn't focus. I'm writing, I'm actually writing a children's book right now. My friend Yuri is going to be doing the artistry. You know, and I'm going to work with Ben and Emma on with the books. They're included because I want to include them, you know, and in the process. Blanket BC has got a phenomenal board of directors. We have some of the most amazing people on our board. We have the best blanketeers because we don't have volunteers. We have blanketeers.
That's awesome.
And we also have the kids are warmth warriors, and people who have been with our organization for longer than 5 years are blanket ambassadors.
Very cool.
And it's all finally coming together, you know, cohesively. I get along well with my mom. I haven't had an argument in like a year and a half, 2 years, you know, and when we do, it's calm, it's awesome, you know. And my dad's like, whatever. You know, that kind of conversation's good. Yeah. And I look forward to the next year. I really do. I've grown so much in the past year, more than I have in the past 10.
And so this can be attributed, obviously, you said Famika was a huge part of this. Mm-hmm. Has it been counseling, therapy, work?
Combination.
Yeah.
Combination. And taking time for yourself. I go for walks.
Okay.
I meditate.
Yeah.
And I work out. I work out religiously now.
Yeah. You can tell.
Well, you know, what can I say? You should see all 8 abs. It's amazing. Yeah. It's actually all it's CG. CGI.
Yeah.
I have an FX team with me right now. You don't
at
see
all
them.
Times,
at all times. Just make myself look awesome. Mookie.
Yeah. Because if people are struggling, listening, mm-hmm. you know that's kind of, you know, what are we talking about? Walks, meditation, mm-hmm. Help through talking,
reading
to
books,
friends, family,
reading books, listening
material.
listening to podcasts, listening to podcasts that are related to, you know, mental health. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't want to call it mental illness. I want to really call it mental health. Yeah. You know, mental health awareness. Term. You know, well, we want to be positive about it, right? You know, there is still a very heavy stigma, and I'm trying to. I've been more open here today than I have been with a lot of people, and actually even some of my therapists. But I think it's really important that people listen, and people understand that, you know. You know, we're just all human. We're all just, you know, we all have our struggles, but it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going through something that I went through, where, you know, you literally are driving and you just want to kill yourself, get off the road immediately, go for a walk. Yeah. Calm down, take a deep breath, just in through the nose, out through the mouth 5 times. It really lowers that serotonin. It brings you down to a level where you can think again. Mm-hmm. You need oxygen in the brain, and that's you know, a lot of people don't realize when you're all uptight, and you're hyperventilating, you're canceling all that oxygen and blood going through the brain, and you need that to think properly. Seeing a doctor on a regular basis, your GP, if you have a GP, if you don't, find one. And find someone that there's a comfort level with, someone mm-hmm. you can be completely, utterly honest with. Like, you know, I had mass diarrhea yesterday. I shit myself 3 times. That kind of conversation. And they accept it like, oh, man, I feel for you, you know, where they're not, you know, laughing at you. Although that was probably bad timing because you're drinking a beer. But you want to be able to be completely and 100% honest. Yeah. And you have to be honest with yourself. That's something I was not. I was so full of shit. I was so full of myself, and I was hiding it through doing other things, antics, and, you know, partying, and, you know, and it was doing all the wrong things. I was doing all the wrong things, you know. Yeah. So oddly enough, I went to Los Angeles and with Jesse Birch and Rod Black, and I thought I was going to completely act out and be crazy. And I was one night, but I just got drunk. I didn't, and I remember not seeing the road properly. Where am I? I don't know where I am because it got foggy. Yeah. But I revert back to that day because I was walking through this fog. And that's exactly what it was like for many years. I was actually running or driving through a thick fog, and I didn't see where I was going. And I could have crashed anytime. Yeah. you know. So that fog now has lifted completely. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone.
Your life is a musical, eh?
Life is, well, I think all people's lives are musical, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we all have, you know, these verses, you know, in our life, and you know, you got to find that bridge,
Yeah.
right?
To get to the last chorus.
To get to the last chorus, you know, and it's amazing that I've had some really good people, but I've also found out who are my friends and who aren't. You know, but at the same time, that stigma scares people. You know, if you start doing some negative things, or you know, and no fault to yourself, it's just you're not thinking right, because you got some mental illness, you got some issues that you haven't addressed yet. People don't want to associate with you anymore, and I've lost a lot of friends. You know, in the music industry, I was kicked out.
Yeah,
I was kicked out. You know, because of me not being upfront and honest and forthright about my disease, about my mental wealth and mental well-being. So the only thing I could suggest to other people is, you know, take that deep breath, you know, pick up the phone and call someone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free services out there. I'm very lucky on the Canada line that we have, you know, at ProTrans BC, we have, you know, EAP, so we can pick up the phone and talk to somebody and get your feelings out, you know. And I'm glad to be here. Still.
Yeah, I'm sure happy you are too. And that's that was one of the things when we did talk, and why I was so happy to have you come in is because, you know, for me, starting this podcast and doing this show has been a way for me to talk about stuff that I wanted to talk about. And for some reason, I just wouldn't, you know, even with my wife or with my family or friends. But for some reason, doing this has made it more comfortable for me. And so when I did that episode about Lily Jean, it was so healing for me to get it all out there kind of in one take kind of thing. And that's why when someone like yourself wanted to come and tell a story about what you've been through and your mental illness, I'm so happy to have you here and to talk it out, because I want to listen for you, because part of it is listening and getting help. Part of it's talking and telling people what's going on, because just getting that out and being able to be honest with somebody is, like you said, it's part of your healing, right? So if you can tell this story to me, whether 10 people hear it or 1,000 people hear it on the actual podcast, you know, I want to help connect with you and just let you know that I'm here to listen, and that I love you, and that you're a beautiful man. And you know, thanks. I can tell by the sincerity in your voice, and just having you here, I'm so thankful that you did come to do this with me, and it's needed. And anybody else who needs it, I know you're there for them, and I'm there for them, and that's kind of what it's all about, right? It's just opening up. And not, it's tough though. Hey, it's a scary thing, and if you need help talking, then you don't have to do it on the podcast. You can you could just call us and talk normally. But
I've been wanting to circumcise donkeys since I was 6. No, I want to.
Okay, we might not.
Yeah, we'll edit now.
Yeah. Well.
You know, it's great, and you know, this is why I love podcasts, actually, because you can just, you know, you can just be yourself. You know, you're not. Yeah. You know, I think if there was a camera here, I would act differently, right? So it's nice just to make eye contact, and I've been staring directly into those eyes of yours the entire time, and I think it's really important to connect with people. You know, make that eye contact. You know, and you know, while listeners are listening in, make eye contact with us, will you? Just go to my Facebook profile and just stare into my eyes.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be able to do this. And before we go out, I'd rather just end on a lighter note, and just quickly tell you about my trip to Japan.
Yeah,
dude. Oh my God, Andrew, you got to go.
I would love to check it out.
You got to go. It is phenomenal. Yeah. It would be great for the kids, great for Jamie, and
I can't say that it's top 5 on my list right now, so you can change my mind right now.
I'm going to change your mind right
Okay.
now. Do you love food?
Yes. Yes, Mr. President.
The greatest food in the world, and I will defend that
Really?
comment to anybody on the planet.
Wow.
The greatest food in the world is in Japan.
So what kind of food other than
Whale
obvious
meat. No.
sushi? You know,
Whale meat. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry, PETA. No, I'm just kidding. I've never eaten whale meat. I never will. But
Okay.
they have a shit ton of whale meat.
Really?
Yes, they
Yeah.
do. In every grocery store, on every menu. They actually feed whale meat to all kids in schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lunch program where every kid gets a bento box.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to bring your own food because they feed you, but they also feed you whale meat,
Yeah.
and it's just a thing. They eat, hunters eat deer all the time.
Yeah.
Whales just happen to be bigger,
Yeah.
bigger mammals. And
Is
there's
that
probably
a-
far
is
less of them
that-
too?
Is that like that would be obviously very frowned upon around here?
Yes.
Like, what's the endangerment?
I don't know. I don't even know
level?
what kind of whale it is, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Obviously,
I asked and nobody would tell me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like taboo
Yeah.
for outsiders, but and I wasn't rude about it. I was actually just like, "Oh, what kind of whale is it? Is this blue or beluga?" Like, I like to know what I'm eating.
Yeah.
And,
I'm just curious as far as, like,
I don't know. I don't
animal
know.
rights activists who listen.
Well,
to
if
this
you're an
podcast.
animal rights activist, don't go to Japan.
Don't go to Japan.
No, because if you're a vegan, this is why I would live in Japan, to stay away from all the vegans out there. I'm just kidding, vegans. I love you. My buddy George, I'm always bothering George. Chad, he's always sending me this vegan festivals. I'm like, can I bring my pork chops with me? like I am a meat eater. I don't care, and I'm not don't try and change my mind, because I ain't gonna have it. It's only gonna make me want to eat more meats.
Eat your meat. You can eat their meat. Their share of meat.
Their share of meat.
Not
Yes.
their. Anyway.
Yeah. No.
Good food.
Anyway,
Great
I did try something I never tried before, which was horse.
Nice.
So I
Okay.
had horse meat.
Man.
Ibeshi.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but I had horse meat, raw, sashimi style.
Crazy.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if I posted the video. I was afraid of posting that video, but I did do I'll be posting it on my channel.
Horse meat, eh?
But
I
it's good, and the point of eating the horse meat, I want people to try something out of their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and it was good. It was delicious, and everything there is prepared with pride. It's not like, hamburger wrap, throw it in, in the bin, and there you go.
Yeah.
Everything is done with purpose. Everything is done with passion and pride, and it's fantastic. Everything is so good. The sushi in some of the 7-Elevens and the Suika's marts and the family marts are fresher and better prepared than some of the restaurants.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Here in Vancouver. I was so amazed, and the people are so polite. The toilets are phenomenons. Like, they're awesome. Some of
Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, they're heated seats. They're always clean, and they clean your bum really well too. Someone just died.
No, it was a stupid cat. I think.
But like they have bidets.
Bidets.
But it's like this little thing comes out and then sprays water in your bum. And it has different levels of pressure. I didn't know
just
what.
sit there forever, eh?
Well,
Just
you could,
having
but
fun?
the pressure one that I did initially at the airport was like the highest, and I flew off my seat. Going, "Whoa, Jesus, oh my God!" And the guy beside me like, "You all right in there? Did you press the wrong button?" I'm like, "I think I did." He goes, "That's right. There's a blow dryer. You'll love it." And there's a blow dryer.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. The toilets there are amazing. I don't know why we don't have these toilets here.
Huh.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. I love the toilets there. Love sitting on the toilets, and they have music. There's a music machine, or there's a noise.
I've seen that on The Simpsons.
Yeah, there's like a little white noise thing, or sometimes some of them have music.
So you can be more peaceful and.
I like playing Andrew Christopher music. I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the toilet thing. So you haven't really sold me on it yet. but I think I'll check out Japan.
Yeah. No, seriously, Japan is really awesome. It's a beautiful place. I was up in Hokkaido, and I actually proposed to my girlfriend,
Right.
Fumika, in her power spot. It's actually a really cool Okinomi pond. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it's
Power.
actually,
What's a power spot?
everyone there usually
Everyone has a power spot.
like a power spot, something that's it's meaningful to them.
Okay, yeah.
And they feel good energy, and they release all their bad energy. And
So is this in her hometown? Or?
Yeah, this is about an hour and a half away from her hometown. And this pond, and I'll send you a picture. It's turquoise blue.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. It's like it looks like ocean water in the Caribbean, and it's a little pond. And when I say pond, it's a little tiny. It's no bigger than this room, this entire room here.
Really?
It's small, but it's in the middle of this forest, and the water seeps up from underground from Lake Mashu, which is about maybe 24 kilometers away. And so she was telling me about how precious this place meant to her. So I was like, you know what, now's the time, because I wasn't sure when I was going to do it, where I was going to do it, and I'm so glad I did it there.
That's awesome, man. I'm
she
so
said
happy for you.
She said yes.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She seems like a sweetheart.
She's honestly, she's adorable, and she's amazing. She's been my angel, and I love her to bits, and I look forward to her, changing my diaper in about 25 years, and it's great. It's going to be
25. You think you'll make it that long?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got another 50 more years yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll go when I'm about 95.
All right.
96, playing music.
Yeah.
Yeah, on stage.
John Denver.
Rocky Man.
And that's it.
That's it. But yeah, man.
Good.
I look forward to the future, and the future is going to be bright and beautiful, and like you and your family.
I'm glad you're doing so well, man. And thanks a lot for coming in here, sharing your story, being so open.
Thank you.
We'll have to do it again sometime down the road.
Absolutely. Let's do it again. And
After you sing at that Canucks game and the Olympics.
Yeah. That's right. Hey, if anybody
and when you change the world. Blanket BC.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to join Blanket BC, they're more welcome to at www.blanketbc.org. And every November we put on North America's largest blanket drive. Blanket BC's Driving the Line. So don't forget to come on out to Blanket BC's Driving the Line. Anyway, thank you very much, Andrew. And you're the best.
Okay, take it easy.
All
Peace
right,
out.
Peace.
It's the Andrew Christopher Show. With Andrew Christopher,
Cheers, buddy.
It's the Andrew Christopher Show. But really we call it the AC Show. Yeah, we really call it the AC Show. Really call it the AC Show. It's the AC Show.
It's the AC Show with AC, your host. Check it out.